schedule and staying on time. It's 2:30. I'm going to start. Uh, this isn't meant to be an academic presentation. Okay, so what this is meant to be is an introduction to some of the themes that animated Arizona State University's proposal to USAID and to the MHRD. Okay, so that you're familiar with the sort of education philosophy that we had put out as our vision for this capacity building program, and let that start to sink in. I also want to be conscious about time for two reasons. One, to give you full opportunity to ask questions about some of these logistics, which I know must be bothering you in the back of your mind. Where are we going? What's going to happen? Where are we going to live? What are we going to eat? So on and so forth. If I were in your place, I would want to know. So I want to try and give you as much opportunity. I can paint in broad brushstrokes, okay? But I want to give you an opportunity to ask some detailed questions. And then I'm also very conscious that we have some serious work to do filling out forms, which I know everyone is very excited about. So we have people from the Institute of International Education, who I'll introduce in just a little bit, with whom Arizona State University is partnering as an in-country partner. And they really need a good hour and a half to 2 hours to fill out the required forms to begin this visa process. We're really pushing the limits of what we can do in terms of obtaining visas for all of you to leave as we've planned. So we need to make that a priority in this session as well. And I'll say this may be the last time that you see somebody from Arizona State University formally speaking on a microphone in front of a podium. This sort of approach has kind of been left to one side in favor of creating what we call professional learning communities. And I hope to model that tomorrow. I had hoped to bring that in today, so you see some things on that board. I don't think we have the time to do that today. We'll pick that up tomorrow morning. But just to say that this distance, this physical barrier, we want to try and reduce this. And our expectation is that there's exchange, okay, that we learn from you as much as we hope that you'll learn from us. So in that spirit, let's start. So as I mentioned yesterday, we are honored and feel very privileged to have been selected. And really at the heart of this is more than Arizona State University. It's a multi-layered partnership. It's a partnership with the MHRD. It's a partnership with the education representatives from USAID. It's a partnership with the Institute of International Education, who brings a great track record of implementing these sort of programs in India and internationally. It's a partnership with Intel, who's going to be providing some key ICT training so that you arrive at Arizona State University with at least some minimal skills upon which hopefully we can build together. It's a partnership, obviously, most importantly, with all of you. And I really congratulate all of you for, you must have risen to the top of your respective fields and professions and institutions to have been selected. And I can imagine, given the size and breadth of the education system here, that you're doing something very well to have been selected by your peers to be here. So congratulations to all of you. And I hope you view us as partners, key partners in this enterprise as well. So when we were writing our proposal, when we were envisioning what this program could look like, as I mentioned yesterday, we came up with this name of Shick Shack Quest. So why did we come up with this name? And this is my response. Because teachers matter. Teachers matter in our research in the United States more than the gender or social class of the student, They matter more than the infrastructure in the classroom. They matter more than if you have the latest technology available to you, if you're in a smart room or not. This program is about teachers at its core, and you as teacher educators. The other part is the quest. So we understand, as I said, this not to be a magic pill, a magic bullet. We understand great teaching not as an inborn gift, but rather as a lifelong quest to master a repertoire of very difficult skills. Shiksha quest. So there's a proverb that says, a wise traveler first chooses their companion and then chooses their road or their journey. So in the spirit of our partnership, in the spirit of companionship, I want to introduce you to some of the partners, key partners on Arizona, on the Arizona side. At least let their faces, be projected here and have a moment to see them. And we also have a video welcoming all of you from President Crow that gives a few images of Arizona State University. So I'm just going to exit this and play this video. It's just about 1.5 minutes. Oh, volume. Aha.
We have constructed for you here at ASU.
Okay. Can we turn the volume up?
I'd like to welcome you to
Ooh.
but getting a sense of what ASU is all
I don't think it's coming on the...
for you here at ASU, an institution which is focused on enabling your dreams
Uh-huh.
and for all get the same design
Is it going to work?
way of learning, your way of conceptualizing
pause it for a
the future,
second?
your way of dreaming and moving forward. Highly fluid and highly engaged in helping you to accelerate your learning. And what I mean by that is that we're big enough and broad enough and deep enough that if you can imagine it, we do it. We have fantastic new schools in sustainability and earth and space exploration and family and social dynamics. We have tremendous achievements of our faculty that you'll be able to be a part of. We have an institution which is committed to something that's uncommon in American universities. ASU is the place where you can come and dream about anything, focus on anything, and move your life forward. We're ready to engage you on customizing your education experience. If you really want to go to America's fastest, highest energy institution, ASU is the place for you. Look forward to seeing you.
Okay, I'm sorry that didn't come through as well as I would have hoped. I'll try and just go over some of the key themes that he said. Is that we're a university that prides itself on innovation, and we're a university that's interested in trying new things, looking at things in a different way, not repeating what has been said before us without thinking critically about what it means for today. So sorry that didn't go as well as I hoped. This is the dean of our Teachers College, Mary Kerner. She's nationally recognized in the United States as a visionary within the field, as someone who has taken it upon herself over the last 10 years as dean to innovate our teacher education programs, both at the pre-service and in-service level. And I want to introduce you to some of the key people that you're going to be with in the rooms, in classrooms. The first is Professor Clark. So I don't want to go over all of his credentials, but this is truly one of the luminaries in the U.S. education system, someone who's also been committed to International Study Association on Teachers and Teaching. He's been president of a college, he's been head of a school of education, and he's going to be working on action research modules that Dr. Singh spoke about yesterday as one of the key components of this project. So this is Professor Clark. This is Professor Painter. Again, somebody who has overseen the entire graduate program within the largest teachers college in the United States, the Division of Educational Leadership and Innovation. In addition to her academic credentials, she's somebody who's actually served as a school teacher, as a school principal, and brings that sort of knowledge of reality of the schools system to this program. She's going to be teaching the core academic program, what we've called Learning Sciences, for this course. And that course is going to cover a lot of the topics that we're only just touching on here: inclusion, motivation, constructivism, so on. The third key person is Professor Sarup Mather. We're very fortunate that we have somebody who spent the first 20 or so years of her life in India and the last 30 or so years in the United States, and who really brings a good knowledge of the Indian education system and grounds a lot of what we were thinking as we were developing this proposal, as we were imagining who might participate in this, in the realities that you experience in your institutions. Fluent in Hindi, I think that came up as a concern yesterday, and we were asked whether we might consider offering one of our professional learning communities in Hindi, and it's something we're taking under consideration. So we're very fortunate to have Professor Mather. Just to give you a scope, within our Teachers College, we have a Nobel laureate on our faculty. We have Fulbright Fellows, Spencer Fellows, Ford Foundation Fellows. This is really an outstanding faculty, and you'll be studying with the best of them. All of these faculty, I think we spoke about impact yesterday, so we want to break away, as we've been saying, from mantras. So I'm going to give you a little idea about what this is, to me, what impact really means. So we're not just teaching, we're not just researching, we're not conducting math or science without an end goal in sight. Okay, we have a goal and we're pursuing that. And when we speak about access and excellence, what does that really mean? So for us, access means that within the last 10 years, we've grown the number of graduates at Arizona State University, largest university in the country, 70+ thousand students. We've grown the number of students who graduate by 60%. And in terms of excellence, Arizona State University has jumped 33% and attracts more national merit scholars than Stanford, than MIT, than Duke. So 10 years ago, when people said that this is something that couldn't be done, that excellence takes place at Stanford and access takes place at large public universities, we have the experience, we have the record to show that these are not incompatible. This is not simply a mantra. This is the mission that we're working to. Broaden the scope of people that we're able to bring in, provide them with a top quality education. So again, not a mantra. We've done it. And really, as the population of the United States diversifies, I hope that, again, we have a lot to learn from India about how children of different races and classes and cultural backgrounds can all come together to learn. So in that sense, I hope we have a lot to learn from each other. And I'd say that one of the themes that we kept reflecting on as we were developing this proposal is that the challenges of India are not India's alone. And if India is unable to tap into the enormous human potential, enormous human capital that is in this country, then in my opinion, global progress will falter. So this isn't somehow about India and ASU. We may be geographically located in different places, but our concerns and our focus need to be united. So there are really two key outcomes that we're working to achieve in this, right? And I want to put these up for everyone to see. And that is that all of you critically reflect on the practices, methodologies, ideas, theories that you're exposed to at ASU, and bring these back to your home institutions as appropriate. Okay, I think Professor Kahn made an important point that she wouldn't want anyone simply to see something and adopt it wholesale without reflecting on the value and meaning of that to your specific location. It's instructive to all of us to learn how different all of your institutions are. You know, rather than, I think, people thinking of India as this monolithic structure, that there are vast differences in where you're all coming from. And what might work for one of you in one context may not be appropriate. But that you reflect critically on what you are exposed to there and adapt it as appropriate to enhance the capabilities of current teachers and future teachers. And the second is sort of broader in that we hope as we document this project, we acquire for the ministry a model for developing the capacity of teacher educators across the country. And again, 55 is a drop in the bucket in terms of the size and scope of the education system here. But if a model can be developed through your assistance, through your input, then this has the opportunity to drive larger reform. So the theory of change that underlies this is just very basically represented there, but at its core, this is a faculty development project as teacher educators. And the theory behind it is that a residency experience which would combine coursework, which would combine classroom observation, which would combine schoolroom visits, structured reflection on your own teaching practices, that taken together, this can trigger change in your belief systems and in your teaching practices. And indeed, there's a great deal of research in the US that suggests this is actually possible, and a lot of it's been done by ASU researchers, that powerful changes can occur in your practices, in your beliefs, if the program is well constructed. So again, as I said yesterday, we feel a tremendous responsibility to provide to you the best quality program that we can offer. So I want to go through very quickly, again, in the interest of leaving time, some of the key themes that are driving our design principles, as we've called them. Okay, the first is around professionalism. I think some of these themes that we spoke about were actually echoed or amplified in Professor Goenda's talk yesterday. So I don't want to read slides to you, but you know, these are the themes that we built upon. And I would just say there was some discussion, debate on constructivism. What I think it really could mean for all of you as effective teacher educators is finding meaningful activities that will assist learners in developing concepts, developing reasoning abilities, and the ability and dispositions that use that knowledge. I think when you come to ASU, that's what it's going to mean for us. Learning by doing. You know, we believe that teaching is a clinical profession, like medicine, like law, and that it requires practice and reflective practice. So again, as part of what we call the down payment, or as part of the experience building up to what Anders Ericsson calls the 10,000 hours of practice that are required to build expertise in the field, we're going to be doing a lot of structured reflection. So we hope to have each of you develop mini lessons that we're going to be videotaping, and you're going to be watching yourself, watching your peers, learning how to offer constructive feedback, to your peers, and that these are some of the tools that we think, again, no matter whether you have electricity or running water, these are some of the tools that you'll be able to bring back that can be readily adapted, we hope, and implemented. Inclusion and gender equity are very important themes. I think we've heard this both from USAID, we've heard this both from MHRD, and as someone who has a background in applied ethics, you'll notice the last line, which is from me, that teachers feel an ethical duty to help all their students succeed without respect to gender, class, religion, ethnicity, caste. This to me is very important, and I hope that this will be a central theme. And it's not just because USAID and MHRD have said it, it's because it's coming from us at ASU directly. And again, we've spoken about how education fits into a wider landscape, and I hope part of what you'll see is how education fits in within the landscape of building democratic institutions and building a democracy. Again, this is another one of our design principles. So I want to try and outline, can you all actually see this, or is it too small? Too small. So let me actually try and go through some of these core the features. Can anyone see it, or not at all? So it's going to be broken up into 2 sessions. Okay. The first session is going to have a 5-week course. As I said, your learning sciences course is going to be your core academic module, and a lot of your discussions are going to take place within that course. Professor Painter, who as I pointed out, is going to be overseeing that. That's going to be alongside that. For the first 3 or so weeks, you're going to have a course in teaching and learning with technology, and a course in gender equity and inclusion. Following those 3 weeks, you'll have some training in teacher assessment, teacher development, and purposes of education in a democracy. And then again, the learning sciences course will continue, and you'll have other courses, ethics in the classroom. You'll have some electives that, as we get to know you and your interests better, we hope to be able to honor your requests. And running alongside that, lest you think that that's not enough work for all of you, you're going to have your action research modules that you're going to be working on with Dr. Clark. You're going to be engaged in the broader intellectual life of the university. So research symposia, graduate student colloquia, general lectures that may be in other departments or colleges that we feel would complement some of the learning in this course, maybe something from psychology, for example. So general exposure to and research engagement. A very structured weekly professional learning community. So breaking 50, 55 people down into groups of 5. Again, where you're discussing, where you're having coached and mentored, facilitated discussions on your coursework. A school field experience. So actually visiting schools in the Phoenix area. Seeing how mentor-master teachers work with student teachers. And then the last component is community involvement. So involvement with the Indo-American community and with larger social cultural events that are happening within the United States. Resonating again through all this, we hope, are these humane themes of gender equity, of inclusion, and constructivist theory, and reflecting always on your own teaching experience and practice. So the idea is that when you return to India, you won't see things as they are, we hope, but you'll see things as they may be, and work to implement that vision. So I also wanted to, from some of the things I've been hearing yesterday, I wanted to break down give you just some practical pieces of advice which may help you. So one of the most distinctive features of Arizona State University, and perhaps one of the ways in which this departs from your teacher training, teacher preparation institutes, is that faculty are engaged in scholarship and in research, and they'll be eager to share that research with you and have you engage with it. So they expect you to be challenging them, again, as much as you're being challenged. So passive learning, sitting, listening, it's really not encouraged. In a classroom that would be graded, in our undergraduate or graduate courses, classroom participation usually constitutes a very large part of the grade. So that people are learning as much from their peers as they are from necessarily the instructor. So the second thing is that, as I said, this podium is really almost a thing of the past, and no one is going to stand up and try to tell you what to think. It's about thinking at ASU for yourselves. We're not interested, if we ask you to write a reflective paper, on repeating what you heard from the professor. The professor is actually interested in what you have to say, in the originality and the creativity that you're able to bring to bear. Simply repeating will again, if this were an undergraduate or graduate program, would be failure. So I think this is a serious departure, because from what I've seen here, in some classrooms, being able to recite, being able to present back to the professor what was presented to them is applauded, is rewarded. That's not the case in the American classroom. I'm going to go into some of the logistics of where you're living, but I would also say that as you're entering ASU, some of you are going to be saying goodbye, or all of you are going to be saying goodbye to your families and friends. And for some of you, this is going to be the first time that you're doing so. So you'll have responsibility for everything from eating properly, sleeping, staying fit, doing your laundry, keeping your apartments clean, okay? And we hope that you'll learn over those few months, if you haven't already done so, to be very self-sufficient. So you will find that this is a theme in the United States. That self-reliance, self-sufficiency is not looked down upon. On the contrary, there's a dignity to it. And I find some correlation, again, I'm speaking outside of my field here, but in Gandhi's principle of somehow the dignity of labor. So when you arrive at the airport, no one is going to pick up your bag for you. Americans would pick up, yes, there are porters there. There are people who would do so if you pay them. But the vast majority of Americans would pick up down into groups. But starting from tomorrow, when we're looking at this paper on the good teacher, we're going to be forming teams. And I hope you look at each other not just as intellectual partners on this journey, but as friends, as colleagues who are there to assist one another. For some, it won't be easy being away from family, from children, and as much support as we will try to give, we hope that you'll support one another. You obviously have impressed me with your maturity of thought and action, but I would say, and I think this is something that Dr. Singh said yesterday, this is not a vacation, and we look to all of you as ambassadors of India. So the ambassador from India to the United States sits in Washington, D.C., but for many of the people you meet in Arizona, it will be the first person that they've met from India. Yes, they know a lot of Indian Americans. but you might be the first person they meet from Bihar, or you might be the first person they meet from UP. And in that sense, you're sort of the ambassadors of your country there. And I don't know what you've seen in Hollywood movies, or but we obviously ask you to respect your neighbors, both on campus, neighbors in the largest sense of the word, and those off campus. And please live up to the standards that Dr. Singh and your families would expect of you. So with that, I'll just, again, try to keep these remarks brief. We have a more dynamic exercise planned for tomorrow. Let's open this up for some of the questions that you have about the academic program. And then from there, I can take you through some of the background on where you're going to be living. Or do you want to go through all the way? Keep going? Okay. Okay, so I realized that we should start with some sense of geographic orientation. Where is Arizona? Okay? So to put this in perspective, this is California, okay? New York, Washington, D.C., East Coast. So Arizona is West Coast, Southwest. So you're being exposed to sort of classic American Southwest culture. Demographics are a large Native American population. It's the 5th largest city, Phoenix, in the United States. So large Hispanic population because of the border with Mexico. Large, 2nd largest Native American population, or largest Native of certain tribes, largest Native American population in the United States. These are some of the demographics that punctuate or animate Arizona. Very beautiful, dramatic landscapes. So Arizona is referred to as the Grand Canyon State. So one of the 7 natural wonders of the world is there. We'll be taking a visit, but very, very large, beautiful landscapes outside of the Phoenix area. So this is, again, I don't know if you can see this, but I wanted to give you a sense of the weather. So Arizona is hot and dry for the United States. So for me, this is very humid, very wet, very green. So within the state, the temperatures are actually quite varied. So if you imagine in the north, the elevation at the Grand Canyon is something like 7,000 feet, 2,000 plus meters high. And yet within Phoenix, more southern areas of the state, elevation of about 1,000 feet, hot and dry. Extremely hot summers, so you're missing the worst of it. But so in September, the average high is 37, average low would be 23. Again, you can see very little rainfall, 1 inch average for the whole month. October, average low 16, average high is 31. So keep this in mind as you're packing clothing. Lighter clothes in the beginning, and then as you can see, when we move to November, December, the lows start to go to 10 and even 6 in December, and the average high is 19. So for the U.S., that's quite. We have the warmest winter, but I can appreciate that for some of you that might be, especially when there's no humidity, that might feel cool. So a sweater, a jacket, especially when we go to the Grand Canyon, you'll want to have something warm. You can see here that, as I said, it's the 5th most populated city in the United States. And you can see that the population is concentrated in the Phoenix metropolitan area. So most people are living within that area. So then I realized while it may seem populated to us, compared to the streets of Bihar, this is not populated at all. I mean, you will say, where are all the people? Because you really won't see that hustle and that energy in the street. It just doesn't exist. It's just a tremendous difference. I mean, it's something that has excited me being here, to see the energy and vitality of the cities. So don't be surprised if you don't see that. So here, it's hard, obviously, to capture in a couple of photos what the campus at Arizona State University feels like, but these are a couple of pictures. And again, this is not uncommon that there aren't a lot of people in the photo, even though this is the largest state university in the country. So it just, those crowds, that just isn't part of our experience. So again, don't be surprised. I know you were asking yesterday for some of the details on your flight, so I wanted to include the specific itinerary. Some of you were even interested to know how long of a layover you have in London. So I'm going to leave this up for a moment for those who are interested in writing this down.
Excuse me, can I ask one question?
Sure.
This presentation you're giving, can we get a
Sure,
copy
of
of
course,
it?
of course.
Okay, thank you.
So all of you are traveling together. You're all on the same flight, and we expect you're all going to arrive together in Arizona. So I think probably you're asking yourself, where am I going and where am I living? So I'm going to just end by showing you some pictures of your residence in the United States. It's called Gateway Apartments. You'll all be living in groups of either 3 or 4. You'll all have a private bedroom with its own key and lock. Within that bedroom, you'll have a desk, chair, lamp, etc. So you have all of you will have your own private rooms. Most of you will be sharing a bathroom as groups of 2. I don't think in any cases there'll be more of you, more than 2 to 1 bathroom. Some of you may have your own private bathroom depending on the configuration of the apartment. So you're going to have everything that you see here: a pillow, a blanket, sheets, towels, lamp. All of those things will be provided for you. So if you're wondering what you need to bring with you, don't use your suitcase space packing a pillow or packing bed sheets. Brand new towels, brand new sheets will all be provided for you. Okay? Give you a feel for what a bathroom would look like there. So this is what you'd be sharing. This may seem funny, but I know for some of you this is a concern. All right? So I should also say, there was a question whether you were going really for 3 full months, or whether you were going and coming and you'd be in Arizona for a couple of weeks and then we'd fly you back for a couple of weeks. So just to clarify, you're really there for 3 months. As I've counted the days, it's 87 days. Okay? There's no returning during that time. Truly, this was a concern for some. So each of your apartments will be equipped with its own kitchen. So again, you'll be sharing a kitchen to 3 or at most 4 people. Refrigerator, oven, stove, microwave, teapot, pots, pans, plates, cups, silverware. This is all provided. This is a glimpse of, the table, chairs where you'll be eating your meals. Each of the apartments has its own living room. These are high quality apartments. They're located about 1 kilometer from Arizona State University. Most people would walk However, there's a free shuttle that runs every 5 or 10 minutes, depending on the time of day, between the apartment building and the university. And then, I know it's not a vacation, but there is a time for relaxation. So, tennis court, basketball court, volleyball court, swimming pool, all of these things are at the apartment complex. So, let me try and not overload you with information. This is not a full meal. It's just a little taste. And I think I couldn't possibly cover the range of questions that you must have. So again, let me keep this shorter, and let me open this up for questions, and then turn things over to IIE.
May I ask the first question, please? There's just one question. See, according to your itinerary, I think we're landing here on the 25th. That is Christmas Day. And as you might have noticed, there are quite a few of us who are Christians. So we were thinking, instead of flying on a Christmas Day, couldn't it be delayed a bit? Because even when we land here in Delhi, we are not with our family. And for Christians, this Christmas Day, it's our most important. So if it's possible, this is a request on behalf of all my Christian brothers and sisters.
I hear your concern. So this program was supposed to start September 18th. And had we been able to get your names, had you all applied for passports, had you all received passports, had we been able to buy the airplane tickets 2 weeks ago, you would have been back in time to celebrate Christmas, New Year's, everything together. We're committed to providing a 3-month program. Contractually, ASU has to provide that. As it is, I think we're like 5 days short. So we're probably going to have to use some Saturdays or some way to make sure that we honor this part of our contract. Our hope was that at least you arrive here in the morning of the 25th. I appreciate that a lot of you will have a long distance to travel even after that, but I'm hoping it's not impossible for you to be able to be with your families on that day. But really, at this point, we've reserved these plane tickets. It was the best we could do within the constraints, again, of visas, passports, and the time frame required for all of you to obtain that clearance.
May I ask a question, please, Anna? I suppose we'll have to cook for ourselves, and we'll have to pick materials from the supermarket there. Oh,
Okay.
how will we cook?
Great question. So this is still something that we're discussing with the MHRD. When MHRD and USAID put out the proposal for people to host the group, it stated that the university would provide 3 catered meals every day. Okay? So 3 catered meals every day. We came back to MHRD and USAID and said that we've never had the experience catering. We wouldn't cater. We would hire an Indian restaurant or something who would do that. Typically, we provide what's called a per diem, so that the participants get the money, are able to go to the supermarket that they want to go to, buy the ingredients that they like, cook the food that they like, make it as spicy as they want. Just let me finish. We're somehow still speaking about this with MHRD. I think what Anamika and I agreed to is probably some combination of the two. Yes. So probably, and again, this isn't definitive, but probably there would be a catered lunch and tea break every day. but your breakfast and dinner might be something that you prepare for yourselves. And I just give you a little bit of the rationale behind ASU. If we cater all your meals a day, there are strict guidelines that the U.S. Department of State sets up as to what you can pay someone on a daily basis for food. And those, every university in the United States, every government traveler has to follow those. So when I come to India, there's a set per diem. I have to buy my meals, clean my shirt, I don't know, buy a brush if I lose my brush, any personal items has to take place within that allotted amount of money. So what we said is, if we provide you with a simple breakfast, okay, in order to hire a company who buys the food, makes the food, delivers the food, cleans up the food, you're obviously going to charge a lot more than if you made yourself your typical breakfast of tea and toast or whatever it is that you eat. So if we imagine that we're constrained by this set amount of money, if we provide you all your meals a day, after we've provided 3 meals, what's left for you, for your laundry, for your personal needs, is going to be something very small. Again, we're paying a company who has to make a profit, who has to pay for the, I don't know, petrol to deliver the food. If you're doing that on your own, you may realize that what you're left with at the end of the day is greater than what it would be otherwise. So in order to afford you some flexibility, for example, you may find that you need to do a lot of walking there, and you didn't bring walking shoes. So if at the end of the day the amount of money that's left to you is greater, you know, maybe after a few days you can go out and buy a pair of walking shoes. Maybe it's colder than you anticipated. You want to buy a sweater. That's our thought process. But again, it's something we're discussing with the MHRD. I would envision that you'll have at least 1 catered meal every day. But for those of you who don't know how to cook, either you have to hope that you're living with people who are good cooks, or you better start writing down the recipes now. Okay, so the typical per diem, I'm speaking typical per diem for Arizona, is about $34 a day, which is about $1,000 a month. So if you factor, this is important to see it in the big scheme, your apartment rent is paid for you. Your transportation is paid for you. Computers that are provided in the program, paid for you. Books, paid for you. Training modules, paid for you. Electricity, heat, air conditioning, paid for you. You're talking about what for an average American would be quite a significant daily sum. I can assure you that most Americans, if I were to try and live on $34 a day and allow $34 for each of the other members of my family, I couldn't afford it. So this is not a situation where you would be struggling on that amount of money. Again, the more that we engage a private company to provide these meals, the more that's going to go down. So we're not trying to get away from providing you meals. We're trying to put you in the position that you have more ownership over these funds, and you decide. For breakfast, you want to eat a large breakfast, you want to go to a restaurant for breakfast and spend $10 on breakfast, or you're quite content with your tea, with your roti or whatever it would be, and that you would save some of that money maybe to buy something else that you would find important.
So we have to maintain within that.
You don't have to, but beyond that, it would be on your own. So there'll be, again, put it in the perspective of an average middle-class American. they would not live on $34 a day. It always assumes that because you're receiving a per diem, that you're unable to cater to your own food needs, that you have to buy all of your meals and services outside. So again, each of your apartments, I should mention, has its own washing machine, its own dryer. So when I'm stuck at the Hyatt Hotel here, I have no choice but to wash this shirt at the hotel. It costs $7 to wash this shirt. I'm sure if I was outside the Hyatt, it would cost much less. Maybe 70 rupees, not $7. So per diem is based on the expectation that you're eating your meals out, that you're buying your services outside of your home. In your case, you actually have the opportunity to realize some savings based on the fact that you have a full kitchen available to you, that you have a washing machine within the apartment. I don't think you'll find this an insignificant sum to live on each day. Now, if you want to go to the movies every night, if you want to be drinking Starbucks coffee 2 times a day, if you want to be eating out in the finest restaurants, of course, you're going to spend all of that and more.
Ara, can I please request, can you please provide us with some bicycles or bikes, so that you said we will have to do lots of walking. So I think...
So again, the budget that ASU has for this, you have to keep in mind, we want to put as much of that budget to your training program. So we could take out one of the modules and supply you all with bikes. And when you leave, that bike will sit there. So we have to balance every decision that we make about what it would mean in terms of a sacrifice from your academic program. And I think, I hope all of you would agree that we should be spending on the quality of your academic program. It's 1 kilometer, really. I think, given the weather there, most of you will find that this is a comfortable walk. Most of you will follow the schedule that either you walk or take this free bus, free shuttle to the university in the morning, and you're going to probably stay there and through the afternoon, because your classes will be taking place there, because lunch will likely be served there, because the library is there, and you'll have a quiet place to do your studies, to gather material. So it's not like you're going to be going back and forth. And the distances are vast. I mean, if it'd be like saying, I don't know, I'm going to bike from here. I don't know, if you wanted to go to downtown Phoenix, you would do it on a public transportation, either a metro or bus or something like that.
What about the local telephone, like mobile
Good question.
facilities for calling back to the country?
Okay. So when you arrive, you'll all be given a calling card. In the United States, you buy a little card, you scratch off a code, and then you call a special number, enter this code, and then you're able to call back to India or wherever it would be at a much discounted rate. So you'll get one of these cards so that when you arrive, you can call home and check in that you've arrived, everything is okay. Mobile phones would be at your discretion. Okay, again, this is where this money comes in to play. And again, why we would want you to have more authority over how you're going to be spending it. So we'll take you to a store for those who are interested in buying a mobile phone, and you can get it's called pay-as-you-go phone. So you don't need to take a 6-month contract or a 1-year contract, which is quite common in the United States. You would just fill the phone up with, say, $30 worth of credit, And then as you use that credit, obviously the money comes off, then you can refill it based on how much you need.
So, what is the official academic hours per day, and how many days working days in a week?
I would expect Monday through Friday you're going to be engaged. Saturdays and Sundays are not working days. But I should say for the general rule in the U.S. academic system is that for every 1 hour you're in class, you have 2 to 3 hours of homework. So if you're in class 40 hours a week, you're done. And again, breaking these concepts that learning is going to take place simply in a class structured with a podium with someone speaking. The idea will be that, and we've been encouraged by Dr. Singh and others, to give you assignments, reflective assignments, that's going to take a lot of your time. So I can't say exactly how many hours each day you'll be in class. It certainly wouldn't be beyond something like 9 to 3, 9 to 4. I mean, you just simply you couldn't do that much work. A typical graduate student would take 4 courses that would meet for about each 3 hours a week. So they would be in class about 12 hours. That might seem like a very light load, but when you factor that in addition to that 12 hours, you're going to have 36 hours outside the class, it becomes quite a full week.
I have a question. During the itinerary that was put up on the routine, it said October 12 to 15 we have a break, and there was something written TBD.
TBD. The exact dates to be determined.
Oh, I see.
Exact dates are to be, but we want to take all of you before the weather gets cooler to the Grand Canyon and to Monument Valley. These are 2 really places that stay with you.
Okay.
And we hope, again, that part of what we're doing and part of what you view each other as a network, that we're creating a network. So in some of the programs that we've been able with participants, when the group has gotten home, someone puts a question up on we're going to try and keep a web portal open to all of you. Someone puts a question up, I need to design a new math curriculum. And then someone from UP writes, we've just designed one. Here it is. So we want to have some experiences outside the classroom which allow all of you to bond as a group,
Yes.
so that these roots of a network take root. If each of you comes back and doesn't tap into the collective wisdom of the rest of the group, again, this would be a loss. So TBD, just know that there will be, sometime in October, there'll be a visit to the Grand Canyon and Monument Valley. It's a very special visit. It's a very
Thank you.
Niagara, I should go back. All right, I'm going to show you where Niagara is. Arizona State University will not be taking you to Niagara Falls. Now,
Please.
so I don't want to keep coming back to this money issue, but it's not impossible that within a 3-month period of time, if you were to manage your finances properly, that you would not be able to save enough money to make a trip someplace. Now, we do not want everyone going off and traveling on their own. We'll go over this in Arizona. If anyone takes any trip, we have to be kept closely aware of where you're going, who you're meeting, what the itinerary is. In some ways, we're very much responsible for sending back as many people as have come. I would just say, within this sort of time frame, Arizona is close to Las Vegas, it's close to Los Angeles. Lots of people have come and saved some money and spent, a couple of days. I've never been to Las Vegas, but for a lot of people, it's a priority. Seeing Las Vegas, I've been to Los Angeles. It is worth seeing. A lot of people have tried to think about where they could go that would be meaningful. So if you have to see Niagara, I would say it's not impossible to save that sort of money, or if you have money that you would bring with you, it wouldn't be impossible, but it's not part of our itinerary.
One more question from this side. While you have the map there, regarding Thanksgiving, supposing I wanted to have dinner with I have family there, would that be possible? Would it be allowed?
So again, generally weekends are your own time. We don't want people missing classes for travel. I think that would go against what Dr. Singh said yesterday about. But weekends are your own. Thanksgiving weekend will likely be a long weekend, a holiday weekend. If that's something, again, that you want to save up for, that's your decision. Yep.
Saturday and Sunday is free.
You'll be busy completing assignments. I say that you're free. You'll be busy.
Excuse me?
Can we
Again, in the beginning, there's. Sorry, if I can just go. I don't want to emphasize the adjustment process, but I don't want to underemphasize it. Okay. There's a significant transition that's going to take place. Everything is going to look, smell, feel, sound different. And it's not uncommon for a lot of people, before they go up, to kind of go down. The readings are significant, so those who haven't been accustomed to doing readings in English are going to find, oh my goodness, the professor gave us 50 pages to read, is expecting us to comment on it tomorrow, and it's going to take a lot of time. The amount of writing, or the expectation that you would submit something from a computer, word processed, as opposed to handwritten, may be a challenge. I would just say that for some people, before they really take off, there's a period of some struggle. Don't want to emphasize it, but it would probably be a mistake if I didn't say that this is natural. And then by the end of the 3 months, when you're drinking your Starbucks, when you're on the Wi-Fi or something, and you've become immersed in this culture, somehow it's time to go home. And but there will be these cultural transitions and adjustments. And you may find that in the early weeks, Saturdays and Sundays, more of your time is spent reading than exploring.
Can we have access on library on weekend?
Yeah. Library is open not 24/7, but almost 24/7. Open on weekends. Part of your orientation will be an introduction to the physical library, its books, resources. I think more importantly will be the introduction to open access journals and online resources. One of the proprietary, like private, learning tools that we have at Teachers College is called PLL, Professional Learning Library. And all of you will be given access to this. It's full of model lesson plans, great research articles on teacher effectiveness, and we plan to maintain that subscription for you at least for 1 year when you come back. So the idea is that we're going to give you really, again, the ability to learn how to do your own online research, but there will be an online librarian specialist who will meet with each and every one of you as often as you want. So if you have a research topic, if you have a research interest, her name is Alexandra, you'll meet with Alexandra, and she'll open up a world of resources. I mean, any book that's available in the United States, literally, any book that's available in the United States, you will have access to through ASU Library. Any book. If ASU does not have it, it's part of something called interlibrary loan. So libraries will exchange books, and within a period of 1 or 2 days, you'll get that book. This is one of the key features of what we call a research intensive or Research One university. So ASU is part of this elite Research One institution, and it means that the type of research and the type of resources available to support research are at the highest level. I mean, this will be something that, for those of you who are looking to go deeper in a subject, will really appreciate the opportunity there.
Excuse me. As our ATMs will not be functional there, in that case, should we, or is it required to take some money with us? If it is so, how much? We don't know about it.
So
not for luxury or comfortable items, just for the necessary things to be met with in the beginning.
I expect that when you arrive, so you're arriving, I believe it's on a Saturday. Banks close before you arrive. You arrive in the evening. Sunday, banks are closed. Monday, one of the first things we'll be doing with you is opening bank accounts. We will have a bank right on campus. We'll be taking all of you to open up bank accounts there. So you'll have a U.S. bank account.
With zero balance.
With zero balance. When you arrive, in order to meet your immediate needs, you'll find that there's food in your refrigerator, okay? And then probably that first day, Sunday, we're going to cater your meals. We'll also probably give you something like a week's worth of this per diem that on Monday you can take either to deposit or to take as cash to keep on you. So we are aware that some of you might choose to come with no money. That's fine. Your food needs will be met. I mean, absolutely, until your bank account can be established. Once your bank account is established, we'll be depositing funds in that for your use.
If we come with funds, in what form? Conversion?
I would bring US dollars. I would not bring rupees, because the exchange rate will not be favorable. Again, I don't want to emphasize the money, but just to give you, getting back to this $34 is enough. Is it not enough? Our experience is that most people by the end of a 3-month program go home with new shoes for their kids, new sweater for their wife or husband, a tablet. So, so on the other hand, what I don't want to do is I don't want to incentivize you not eating so that you can save a couple dollars at breakfast. See, I'm being very serious. Say, oh, if I don't eat breakfast tomorrow, I'll save $3 more. And if I do that for 3 months, then I can buy, something special for my girlfriend. Please don't do that.
Can just make one
Yes.
suggestion on this,
And then I think
on the foreign exchange issue.
I had a question here.
I'm just sharing a bit of experience with you.
Oh my.
Those of you who want to carry some American dollars with you, the best exchange rate that you get is at State Bank of India branches. And you'll have to find out where the foreign exchange branch is close to your place. They're normally there in all state capitals.
How much dollar we can carry?
Oh,
up to $10,000.
And one more thing what I'll suggest is that I think if we are paying by our cards, then we don't need to, you know, give the exchange rate also.
I would check very carefully. So $10,000 is the legal limit that anyone is in cash or any other instrument is able, travelers checked, whatever, is the maximum legally that you're able to enter the United States with. Don't expect anyone to bring $10,000 in. I wouldn't recommend, or I would be very careful about using your card, because most cards, one, do not have a very favorable exchange rate. Two, most cards can charge a foreign transaction fee. And so every time you're using your card, you'll be assessed some fee, and you may find that this eats away at your... We'll be setting up a bank account for you. American dollars will be deposited in that. You'll have a debit card. There's two types of cards, credit and debit. You'll be given a debit card. It means you're able to use up to the amount of money that you have in your account. I would recommend that you use that debit card. If you want to wire transfer additional funds, or if you want to take some additional funds, deposit in that account, but use that card.
Arav, I'm a bit more concerned about the medical facilities also. There, can you please tell something about that?
So medical coverage is going to be provided for all of you. Dental coverage is not covered. Medical coverage provided, dental coverage not provided. So the medical facilities, your first stop would probably be at the clinic right at Arizona State University. If you had a more special need, say for example you had an eye problem or something, they would refer you to an eye specialist. But right on campus, there's a health services facility. Your medical coverage will be valid there. You should be aware that for medications, I think you're required either to pay all or at least some percentage. Is that right? Shruti? Yeah.
For daily expenses.
Okay, J1 visa, I don't think is going to provide them work authorization. So the type of visa that you're getting is a visa specifically for training, academic studies. It does not allow for work. I'd also say that really, I hope you won't find it too difficult, but be prepared that this will be an intensive academic program, and that it would be surprising to me that you would be able to hold down a job and do all of your studies. So I don't think the J1 visa allows for work authorization. But really, I wouldn't expect that you'll have a lot of free time on your hands. The question was, can they take medication with them? I think the answer is yes. If it's prescription medication, yeah.
If there's any special kind of medication, then it's advisable to always carry a doctor's prescription with you. And with that,
Yeah, and I think what we've been speaking about also is if you know what you take for a headache and you typically get headaches, bring that medication with you, because by the time you go to the pharmacy, by the time you figure out which medication is appropriate for the type of headache that you have, it's easier to have your own. Again, you may want to visit a dentist before you leave. I'm not looking at anyone in particular. I'm just saying this broadly, that dental practices in the United States are very expensive. Very expensive. I mean, you could end up spending a lot of money on it. Now, Sarup's son is a dentist, so I hope if there's truly a dental emergency, we have some connections to somebody who would not charge very high rates. But be aware that it would be advised to take care of any potential problems here rather than pay a lot of money there.
Are you going to provide us with a laptop? Or
question.
should we carry our own?
Everyone will be getting a laptop. So
And is there going to be internet facility at our apartments?
you'll have Wi-Fi facility at your apartment.
Oh, thank you.
Again, at your apartments, everything is provided for you. Wi-Fi. There's even cable for television, but one of the things we will not be buying is televisions for your apartment. If the 3 of you or 4 of you decide that that's a priority, you can put your money to that, but our concern is that people end up spending too much time watching Hollywood and too little time reading their book. So
me told us that our account will be opened there as soon as we will reach there. In that account, can someone transfer some money from other countries?
absolutely. So make sure that when you go there, you ask them for the wire transfer instructions. They'll give you a sheet of paper that gives the routing code, the bank number, and so on, that you would then be able to provide to people here.
Sir, what about dress? Will there be any dress code during our program?
Sorry.
Or are we allowed to?
This was an interesting topic of conversation. Again, Sarup was saying, will it really be practical for you to bring saris? Will it be practical? I said it would be beautiful. So I would encourage you to bring and wear whatever you want to wear. There's no dress code. One thing I would suggest is you bring one more formal set of attire, so that if you're invited to a special function, say with the dean, with the president, with the Indo-American community, that you feel you have something more formal to wear in that situation. I should also say, I hope at some point there'll be a cultural night that we can organize, that the Mary Lou Fulton Teachers College or our community or other communities will have a chance to witness the vibrancy and diversity of cultures that you will be bringing. So if there's something that you feel represents your culture, your home, that you would want to bring, those would be important to bring. You should be aware, I'm sure IA is going to cover this, but there are certain food items that you cannot bring in the United States. Raw fruits, raw vegetables. Don't think of packing your suitcase full of, I don't know, pickles or something. We'll take you to a local Indian market, and of course everything that you're used to seeing here won't be available, but we hope that it will be sufficient. A lot is. Yeah. So The question was whether you're able to hand wash certain delicate items. So in your bathtub, so it's a tub shower, you would be able to hand wash any delicate items. Also, it's quite common on a US washing machine for there to be called a delicate cycle or gentle cycle, and the machine only moves like a hand would move. So it's not a very so yeah, I would recommend hand washing probably in the bathtub area. You can get a bucket and do it there. In terms of a place to hang it up, you'll probably have an area just outside of your apartment where you would be able to hang it to dry. It's hot and dry, so things should dry quickly. I know you.
If I may, with your permission,
sure.
intervene. All these kind of concerns we will be addressing once again when you'll be coming just before your departure. So I understand, I mean, all your concerns and queries, because that's I think for most of you the first time, as Ara mentioned, you all are going, offshores for such a long period of time. So there will be many concerns related to, your daily needs, how they will be met, and your daily, routines that you're used to. And we will try to give you information as much as possible so that you are comfortable before you go. And I also want to assure you that you will be in very good hands there. So it's not that we are just, going to take you to an island and just, drop you there for 3 months and forget. So that is certainly not the case. And I think that will be a good idea if, one of the things that you can do as a group is you start noting down your queries, the kinds that you were asking just now related to, daily course. And if we can just address it together, and we can do it when you'll be coming back. Just before your departure, you will be coming for another orientation. So we'll be taking care of that, because right now we have, other urgent things to take care of.
And I would only say, I'm going to give all of you, I'll give you all my email address. So don't hesitate to write to me. We have somebody whose position is to coordinate a lot of your logistics. So either I'll respond directly or that person will respond, usually quite quickly. So I think on Monday, all of you with Intel are going to be, if you don't already have one, you'll have a email account set up. From that email account, feel free to send us, if you come up with a group this week, 20 questions, send us 20 questions. Because some of them might be important to address before you come back, just before you depart. It might be too late, in other words. You want to know what clothes to pack in advance, etc. Sure. I think we're going to break for tea, and then to keep that short so that we don't spend too much of your evening filling out forms.
So maybe 4:15 if everybody is able to come back?
Yeah, 4:15, 4:15.